The Hard Count is presented by BetMGM. As y'all know by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this college football season. We'll be using their lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for all of you each week. Now, when you join BetMGM, you get access to a variety of parlay selection features like same-game parlays, live betting options, and more. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code HARDCOUNT, and you'll get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. 1, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code HARDCOUNT. 2, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. Step 3, you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code HARDCOUNT when you sign up. Let's make this college football season 1 for the books. Let's make it legendary. Let's get to the show. We're right now on the doorstep of Week 6 of the college football season. It's one of those feelings you get around the first Saturday in October where the air starts to turn a little bit more crisp. You start looking down the barrel of what you have left on your schedule, and you're like, man, we're about to be in the conversation of talking about who's going to be in the college football playoff, conference title races. All that gets a lot more real once we hit October. Welcome into the Hard Count. It is Thursday, October 2nd. Already October 2nd, 2025. Last one on the face of the planet. The Hard Count presented by BetMGM. A ton to get into today. We got our Week 6 superlatives. We have what's being missed in Alabama and Vanderbilt. Yes, things are being missed. A narrative is incorrect in that game. We'll talk about it. But I want to start out talking a little bit of ball with y'all, man. We do a lot of different things when it comes to narratives and takes and big picture stuff. Let's get into the weeds a little bit here and talk about the game plans offensively for both Miami and Florida State. I want to start with the Canes, though. What Miami's going to do offensively in this game, in a word, violence. That's who they are. That's what they've built this machine to do. Right now, Miami's running the football 56% of the time. It's not a clerical error. That's who they are. And it's not really a surprise, I don't think, to anybody in Coral Gables, because guess who your head coach is? An offensive lineman in Mario Cristobal. Now, Shannon Dawson, yes, he's from that air raid tree. Yes, he does want to push the ball downfield. Of course, you got Carson Beck and pay him what you're paying him for a reason. But in this game now, I think Miami watched that Virginia tape. And what Virginia do? Attack the edges, outside zone, get around the tackles, go downhill. Tell you what, I think that's Miami's wheelhouse, dude. Miami and how they're going to run the football in this game will have 2 ingredients. A lot of great things in life have 2 ingredients, PB&Js, s'mores. This game plan running the football, it will be condensed formations, which we talked about in our preview. Malachi Tony, just scoot in a little bit here, babe. Hey, Josiah Trader, make sure you're lined up real tight to the line of scrimmage, real tight to our tackle, our tight end, whoever it is. And then they're also, the second ingredient here, going to be some perimeter runs. So we'll get out there in 21 personnel, 2 backs in the game. It's Brown, it's Fletcher, and we're just going to make you say uncle. That's what I think Mario Cristobal and this Miami team wants to do in this football game, because there's a part of this where you do it out of necessity. Hey, road game, Doak Campbell, might be a little bit gross on the weather side here. We want to make sure we keep it on the ground, low margin for error kind of game plan. But also, let's be real about this. It's a rivalry game. Remember what Miami did to Florida in that rivalry game? Yeah, Carson Beck had like in the neighborhood of 30 attempts. But when it came time to win the football game, Mario Cristobal reached into the heart of the Florida Gators, pulled it out, Bruce Lee style, I think still beating. That was what they did on those final 2 drives. It was, we're going to impose our will on you. We're going to run the football, make you say uncle yet again, and then at the end of the game, you'll be happy it's over. That's, I think, the kind of brand of ball Miami wants to play. Again, that's the brand of ball they have built to play. When Cristobal got there, you knew he would acquire talent, but you knew he'd specialize in going out and getting those big boys. So Francis Mauanoa, it's a pancake kind of game for him. Ruben Bain, on the other side, defensively, it's a go attack the trenches kind of game. That's the defensive side. Don't want to wander too far into that. But that's, I think, what Miami would like to do. Okay, yeah, they want to mellow out the defense when it comes to not letting them be so aggressive and just pound the rock, but that is what you can expect from Miami. Condensed formations, high percentage of runs called, perimeter run game. They want to make the guys that don't want to tackle, stereotypically that is, continue to rally up, have to tackle, have to fill in the run game. That is the game plan that they want to have early on. Now, I say that. I also think that you will at least have in, not the back pocket, maybe the side pocket, maybe the glove compartment, you will have the opportunity in this game, if you're Carson Beck, to push the ball downfield whenever the Florida State defense overcommits. That's pretty straightforward, but especially in this spot, with the way that Florida State is structured defensively, I don't have a lot of big bodies out there. Okay, it's more sports car than it is Hummer. Like, they want to get downhill with speed. Okay, so when that happens, when you do overcommit to the run game, that's when Carson Beck, we got to have it, baby. Got to have those cash-in throws. We talk a lot about on this show, the money on the table kind of throws. And Carson Beck is more than capable of doing that, but just make sure that's said out loud. I don't think that'll be plan A. I think it'll be physical, brute strength, run game, and then when you put your hand in the cookie jar, Venus flytrap style, you get yourself got over the top, and Miami scores points that way. So that's the game plan for Miami offensively. Again, in a word, violence. But whenever you try to match violence with our violence by being aggressive on the defensive side, we're going to make you pay downfield. That's just kind of the sense I get from Miami ahead of this game. So on the other side of this thing for Florida State offensively, I think they want to give you the special effects game plan. You know what I'm saying? We're talking pyrotechnics. We're talking a little CGI. We're talking Michael Bay Transformers kind of stuff. Kato, Michael Bay Transformers, correct? We're one on the Michael Bay references here. Florida State, they want to do a lot of window dressing with Gus Malzahn. And window dressing is a term you hear a lot of analysts say whenever you're watching, your favorite pregame show. All that means pre-snap movement. I'm trying to make sure my linebackers, my safeties have a lot to look at. Whoa, jet sweep across the formation. Whoa, hang on. They got a play action with a jet sweep across the formation. Who has the football? Oh, Thomas Castellanos has it. Like that kind of who has the ball emotion you want to create for Miami defensively. Because if you give Thomas Castellanos a little bit of daylight, he's proven he can make you pay. The reason for that being, one, that's who Florida State wants to be, just in general. Like if you go back and watch the Auburn teams that Gus Malzahn called the offense for, that was pretty true to their style of ball. Make you guess who has the ball in some direction, get your keys all muddy, make you have a difficult time figuring out what you're looking at offensively, and then before you figure it out, we're 5 yards down the field with a head of steam, we're running the football. So it's an identity thing, but also I think in this game, Florida State understands what it is. They're not going to try and beat Miami at their game defensively. Like Miami, what's their strength? Front seven. We talked about Ruben Bain already during this show. They understand they're not winning this game going north and south. But guess what? They weren't going to win the game going north and south against Alabama either. So what'd they do? Misdirection, window dressing, a lot of options for your quarterback every single snap that will be accentuated in this game against Miami because of their personnel up front. You want to put the game in a situation where Ruben Bain, you can't just wreck the game because you're destroying our blocks. Guess what, Ruben? We're not even going to block you, brother. We're going to read the heck out of you. And then at any point in time, whatever you do, you're wrong. So you want to take away the inside zone on the dive? Great. Be my guest for. But understand, Thomas Castellanos out the back door with it, and he's either running it or throwing it, and we're living that way. So that's, I think, one part of this. The other part of this, though, is Gus Malzahn. It's a run-to-pass offense. It's an explosive offense through the air. Florida State doesn't throw it a lot, but when they do, they're taking shots downfield. I just have a certain feeling in this game, in this spot. If you're Florida State, you're at home, want to keep the crowd engaged. You watch Miami on defense. I told you, Florida State, they're aggressive. Miami's the same way. They want to attack you at the line of scrimmage. That second and third level wants to get down there with bad intentions, make a tackle for a loss. So if I'm Gus Malzahn, I'm sitting back there and saying, okay, hey, Tommy C, early, might be able to get these guys, man. Hey, Deuce, you good? Squirrel White, you good? Field Storming, you're still alive? Okay, cool, let's go. I think that there will be a play early on in this thing, first half, first quarter, maybe first drive, I don't know, where Gus Malzahn takes a peek. Because Miami plays so downhill, like I already told you. If you're Gus Malzahn and you can create just the little bit of hesitation for the Miami defense and make them second-guess themselves in the second, third, fourth quarter of this game, guess what? Advantage Tommy C because he's getting settled and hitting a deep shot. Advantage Florida State, period, because you got the crowd into it. Most importantly, advantage your run game. Because if that safety is getting there a half second later, guess what? A half second, doing the math here, probably another 3-4 yards for you, pushing the pile. Much more livable second and third down situations. That is big time for Florida State when it comes to the flow of this game. Because as explosive as Florida State is offensively, they're still in a lot of ways an option style of offense. They still want to test your discipline, but most importantly, they want to live in a situation where they can run it or throw it on third down. You can't run it or throw it when you're living in 3rd and 11, all right? So that's important for Miami to be disciplined, but I guarantee you Florida State early on will try something over the top. So last thought when I have this game plan for Florida State offensively, I really do think that going back to what I said about how they're going to try to run it and not just try to attack the trenches of Florida State,
I think we'll see a similar style of run game that we saw against Alabama, where Florida State puts the ball on the perimeter a lot. Now, run game could be a screen pass. It could be a quick game kind of thing from Thomas Castellanos. But remember how much they forced Alabama to rally up and tackle from the second and third level in that game, and we saw Alabama not do it at a high level. I think you'll see that same style of approach here from Florida State with how they attack the perimeter. They know they're not beating Miami run 34 wham, run an inside zone over and over again. That's just a ridiculous game plan. That'd be a stupid game plan. Gus Malzahn's not a stupid person. You'll see them attack the perimeter and try to win that way with misdirection, with tempo, with all those things, and then take shots when they get Miami where they want them. And also, I think early on, set the tone. So the game plan for Florida State will be that. Special effects, misdirection, tempo, Castellanos doing his thing with the perimeter run game. And I can't wait to watch it, dude, because that's going to be just fun to see Florida State and Miami playing a game that matters in the context of a college football season. It's how it's supposed to be in this sport with those two brands, those two helmets going at it, having the attention of the nation. I understand the Virginia game goes how it goes, so now the nation's looking a little bit differently at this game. I'm just telling you, that game will have a massive say on how the ACC looks in the month of November when it comes to that conference title race. All right? Now, another game that, oddly enough, is going to have massive say, Cato, in the conference title race is Alabama and Vanderbilt. Who would have thought that? I know Diego Pavia did, but who would have thought that Vanderbilt-Alabama would be a game that we have circled for this week of the college football season? Only college football. I absolutely love it. If Clark Lee wins this game, this has nothing to do with the segment, but I want to say it out loud. If Clark Lee wins this game, Kalen DeBoer will be 2-0 against Kirby Smart and 0-2 against Clark Lee. Life is crazy. But here's the thing. We're talking a lot about this game. We're talking a lot about Pavia, talking a lot about Ty Simpson, and that's all well and good. It's all important. But I keep telling you, man, your family and friends that are telling you those things, they hate you. I don't know why. They hate you. They're not telling you what's really going on. The narrative is all wrong ahead of this game. Here's the thing. With this game this year's spot is not last year's spot. Everyone's saying, well, hey, Vandy beat Bama last year. Yeah, you want to know why? Because Bama was all fat and happy and was looking at Vanderbilt like they were old Vanderbilt. And quite frankly, Vanderbilt had kind of left some clues out there that maybe Vandy was old Vandy. Like losing to Georgia State, like losing to Missouri in overtime. Last year, this game was on SEC Network at 4:15. This year, College Game Day's in town for this game. It's 3:30 Eastern ABC. Now, Vanderbilt right now, the spot they're in is very interesting, and that's the part that's not being talked about nearly enough. Vanderbilt this year is just good. You know what I'm saying? Like this year's Vanderbilt is not last year's Vanderbilt. This year's Vanderbilt is number 16 in America. Would everything about the AP poll, think what you want, but if they win this game, they'll be high in the top 10 in my opinion. But right now, number 16, they're not sneaky. It's not a sneaky Vanderbilt team, which to me should say that Alabama is going to actually give them the proper attention in this game. More on that in a second. But you look at what Vanderbilt is right now, like Vanderbilt's good, and we all know Vanderbilt's good. And this is also a spot now where Vanderbilt's not sneaking up on Alabama. Why? Because Alabama, since they lost this game a year ago, you'd have to think has had this one circled when they saw that schedule for this year. Like, yeah, you want to get your lick back. They stormed the field against you in Nashville. They took a goalpost down Broadway in Nashville and threw it in a river. You know how hard it is to drive down Broadway? Much less get a full-on goalpost down Broadway. Like the amount of energy that had to take for that group to get that done. I promise you, that's embarrassing if you're Alabama, and they feel that way. So what's not being talked about with Vanderbilt is, one, they're just good. Two, this is not familiar territory for Vanderbilt. That's one thing that's going kind of under the radar here. Diego Pavia is awesome. They've had attention because of him. But Vanderbilt's not used to being the game that's circled. Last year after Alabama, they went 3-4. Now, granted, they played teams like Texas. They played teams like Tennessee, so it wasn't like they had just an easy schedule after Alabama. But when Vanderbilt got a little bit more attention on them, like, they did not have a winning record. So that's the big thing for me in this spot is Vanderbilt, yeah, Diego Pavia's got to show up. Yeah, all that's true. But this is not really a familiar spot for Vanderbilt to be in when it comes to the national spotlight. When was the last time Game Day not went to Vanderbilt, but had a game where they were featuring Vanderbilt? Because this game's in Tuscaloosa. So you're still not in Nashville. But when was the last time that game day was doing specials on your quarterback? I guarantee that'll happen this weekend. So I'm here for that story, but the spot for Vanderbilt is not being talked about nearly enough, and that is going to have everything to do with this game. Because Vanderbilt, if they make any boneheaded mistakes, any like big time, first time in the spotlight mistakes, that will get you beat. Because they play low margin for error kind of football. It's the modern option, if you will. And they do it at a high level, but that kind of ball does not lend itself to playing down 10 points at any point in the game. So that's huge for Vanderbilt, the spot not being talked about nearly enough. Now, we also, I think, for Alabama, aren't talking nearly enough about their spot. Because this Alabama is, it's easy to say they're walking into the same situation they did a year ago when they lost to Vandy in Nashville. You beat Georgia. Everyone's talking about how good Bama is right now. And last year I was talking about how maybe Kalen DeBoer is like Nick Saban's replacement and you don't miss a beat. That was my take on this thing. But this year, while you still have the Georgia win at your back and the momentum carrying you into that, and you still have to make sure you don't overlook, Vanderbilt and all those things, you got embarrassed already this year. Like you lost week 1 to Florida State, and the way my good friend Jake Crane said this, Alabama got fat shamed after they lost to Florida State week 1 of college football. It wasn't just like, no, you're not good. Well, it's a bad loss. It's like, man, what is wrong with you? You got what is going on with Alabama? They are not at all who we thought they were. It was aggressive the way they got after Alabama. And so when I look at this Alabama team, I don't think we're totally taking account for the fact that loss still should exist in the minds of this football. There still should be a chippy sense of urgency, underdog mentality to this Bama team. If the fact that you lost them last year doesn't do that for you, then, the fact that you lost to Florida State week 1 should. And I keep seeing that from Ty Simpson, and I feel a little bit like a switch was flipped within him after that loss to Florida State. Because we watched that game, and one of my big takeaways of the many that were negative for Alabama was like, man, Ty Simpson wasn't bad. Didn't throw a pick. Didn't have this like massive error that you write home about and say, Ty Simpson's not our guy, Alabama. But it felt a little bit like he wasn't yet the guy at Bama, which makes sense. First game starting for Bama, all those things, I understand that. But if you're going to go have success at the level you expect to have success at, if you're a Bama fan, your quarterback can't just be a jag. Can't be just a guy. Like you have to have a dude at quarterback who knows he's a dude. Okay, so Ty Simpson, since that loss, I think has stepped more into that role. Definitely was in that role in that game against Georgia. He's hushing the crowd in Athens. He's giving fiery speeches in the locker room. He takes a piece of the hedges with him to the locker room after they beat Georgia, got in his mouth, talking about walking your trap, take over your trap. I don't know, but I think that level of urgency and the chip on their shoulder, the underdog feel still from this Bama team is a big reason why I still like them in this spot. So Vanderbilt, hear me clearly, they're good enough to hang with Alabama. They belong on this field. This is not last year's Bama or last year's Vandy. This is a good Vanderbilt football team. Last year they were good too, but you heard what I'm saying. Like this Vanderbilt team can make some real noise. They could beat Bama. But if they're going to beat Bama, to me it still takes some Bama mistakes to lose this game. So I can't wait for this one. I know you can't either. And the thing they're getting wrong about this game is the spot in general. Vandy, bigger spot they're used to. And for Alabama, yeah, it's a big spot for them. Yeah, you can't overlook Vanderbilt. But the Florida State loss, I think, will help them in a massive way because of that. All right. Now, if you want to be at this game, make this very clear. If you're an Alabama fan, if you're a Vanderbilt fan, you're like, hey, Bryant Denny, Tuscaloosa? Yeah, I want to be at that thing. It's going to be awesome. But I don't know where I'm getting tickets, JD. I got the answer for you. Game Time, the best, fast, easy, safe, effective, affordable way to buy tickets. You can buy tickets last minute. Heck, buy them Saturday morning once you watch College Game Day and say, that looks awesome. I want to be there. Buy a ticket using Game Time. You want to see your view from your seat before you buy it? No problem. Game Time has that feature on the app. Now, if you want to buy tickets and save money, hear me clearly. This is very important. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code HARDCOUNT, name of this show, HARDCOUNT, HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, code HARDCOUNT, HARDCOUNT for $20 off. Swipe, tap, tickle it, download the Game Time app today. All right. Now, let's go back to everyone's favorite publication. Yes, everything on the On3 website is obviously your favorite publication, but when it comes to like your favorite hard copy newspaper, yeah, still the feeling of the pages between your hands. Everyone's favorite newspaper is the Hard Count Herald, and guess what? It's back this week. little bit choppy last week, not a high percentage hit rate last week, but still, we're back. The Hard Count Herald's got a couple of takes here for this upcoming weekend, telling you what's going to happen before it does. And let's go out to Gainesville, Florida, for the Texas-Florida game to see what the Herald says about that, what the headlines will be. Headline is, Arch leads Longhorns in Swamp Slugfest. How about that? The reason why we think this game is going to be ugly, the reason why the Herald think this game is going to be ugly, because it has all the ingredients to be just disgusting. I mean, the weather's going to be bad, 2 quarterbacks that are struggling, 2 great defenses. You have a situation where the home team that hasn't played well is desperate, so you think there's probably a level of quirkiness and weirdness to it. Also, look at that total. Total's looking like it's right around 41.5, resembling something that you would see in the Cyhawk with Iowa State. This is a spot where it's going to be a survival kit kind of game. Hey, when things aren't going well, when you can't generate any offense, can your defense make some plays for you? Does special teams show up? All that is going to be a factor in this game. Now, I've already said, I think Texas wins. The Herald agrees. But the reason why I think that, as we already told you during our prediction video, I think there is more doors for Texas to walk through in this game that equate in a win. Like, Florida has some doors, but to me, it's like, okay, the door there is like Lagway plays well enough and you run the football. Defense makes a couple stops. Like, for me, Texas could win with the defense just harassing Lagway, defensive score, touchdown. You could see a little the offense waking up potentially, because I still think, as much as we've questioned Arch, I like the weapons around Arch better. I like the run game for Texas better. I think that's a possibility. You could see a game where the Steve Sarkisian creativity plays a factor here. And it's like, man, I don't know. They didn't get a lot from Arch in that day, but Sark dialed up a couple of winners. They hit on those, and they won that game. Like, if Billy Napier was going to be the reason why Lagway was going to play well, I think we would have seen that already. Like against USF, I think we would have seen it. Against LSU, we wouldn't see them throwing the football 49 times. Against Miami, we would have seen them have over 100 yards passing. We didn't see that, like 61 yards. Like, all I'm saying, I'm really questioning, I'll say it this way. The burden of proof for me is on Billy Napier and on Florida offensively to do something we haven't seen before to this point in the season. Saw it last year, so if it shows up, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world, but it'd be more shocking to me than all those things we just said Texas could do to win the football game. So I say that, but then going back to the idea that this is still going to be, I think, a rock fight in every sense of the word. Low scoring, gross, maybe some turnovers, I don't know, but it's going to be kind of rock fight-ish. I say that and say Texas wins a rock fight, but the more you look at this spot, it really feels to me like you need Arch to still do something in a rock fight. You're on the road, that environment, that weather. Quite frankly, you still have that other quarterback on the other side that I think is liable to do something in this game, or at least you should feel that way if you're Texas, that you still have to account for that in this game. So as I was breaking this thing down and thinking about how it's going to be a rock fight, well, what matters in rock fights? What's a good basis for us to evaluate this game when it comes to rock fights elsewhere in college football? And the rock fight of all rock fights every year is the Cyhawk, right? Iowa State, Iowa. Why has Iowa State won 2 of those last 3? A lot of reasons you could point to. To me, it's Rocco Becht. To me, it's their quarterback, even if he doesn't light up the stat sheet, is good enough in the key spots to get Iowa State to win in those games. Like, yes, the field goal is obviously a big part of it, but Rocco Becht, when the money is down, makes the timely play to allow Iowa State to win in those games. So in this spot now, I think you need something from Arch. I think Arch plays well enough in certain situations to get you a win. Now, hear me clearly. That's not Arch going for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's not. But I think it could be, hey, Arch, 3rd and goal, we're going quarterback design run game. Need you to find the goal line. Hey, Arch, 3rd and 3, we're going play action, hit my guy in the flat with pressure in your face, make that throw to extend the game and extend the drive, rather, put this thing on ice. Like, I think it's going to be situational stuff from Arch Manning that Steve Sarkisian and this roster ultimately supports him in doing, to where Arch makes those kinds of plays. Because, again, I don't think it's a thing where Arch lights it up, but I feel good about this headline because I think there's more opportunity and more support for Arch to be in that spot. Okay, now, if this happens, when this happens, rather, isn't this kind of the version of Arch Manning we've been saying on this show that you need? Because take all the Heisman talk, the number 1 draft pick talk, like, that's all very clearly out the window. We never really bought into that. Thought Arch would be a good, not great SEC quarterback, eventually become great at the end of the year, which still could happen. But if he's just good, look at what's around him. That defense is good enough to go win a national championship, in my opinion. I still think that the weapons at Texas, maybe it's not what you're used to, but I trust Steve Sarkisian saying those guys are good enough to where he doesn't go get 2 or 3 guys from the portal. Like, you went and got one guy via the portal in the wide receiver room. Emmett Mosley. Okay, great. Feel good about Livingston. Feel good about Ryan Wingo, clearly. So if you have Arch just not being a negative data point, Texas can go accomplish a lot this year. We're talking about them like a 1-3 football team. That's not Texas. They lost to Ohio State at their place by 1 score. And Arch played terrible. Team can accomplish a lot. So if that's going to be something you accomplish if you're Arch Manning, where you win in the swamp, it's all upstairs for Arch, right? Is what we keep saying. If that's true, it's all upstairs. Think about what this does for you upstairs. Go get a win in one of the most hostile environments in college football, and a got to have a spot for your team on the road. I think that would do a lot. And if I'm Arch and I am Arch's camp, I am doing everything in my power to put a lot of value on this kind of a game. Afterward, that is, if you win it. And say, you know what, we beat Florida. View that Georgia game differently. View the A&M game differently. That's a world that you want to live in, because if Arch starts getting it together upstairs, good things happen for Texas. I think that's pretty straightforward. So, Hard Count Herald, Arch leads Longhorns in Swamp Slugfest. I mean, first team all-iteration there from our very own Caden Swift. Caden Swift. It's a Swiftie. Caden Smith, alley runner extraordinaire. Next up on the Hard Count Herald, big one for the Irish this week. Hard Count Herald says Notre Dame rolls. Irish bully Broncos improved to 3-2. Notre Dame's 500 right now. Very weird to say out loud, but it's the case. The Arkansas game for Notre Dame, the further you get from it, I think it's very easy to excuse. Because you say, well, yeah, okay, well, they just fired their head coach, right? Like, how good were they really? Sam Pittman was on his last leg in that game, and Notre Dame's roster is really good, and, you know, like, there was a lot wrong with Arkansas, and they didn't really want to be there. Like, good for Notre Dame, but, like, it's very easy to explain away and devalue. I don't think we should be that fast on devaluing that win for Notre Dame. Because going into that thing, 4.5-point spread, 11 a.m. kick local time, weird spot for your young quarterback. Also, by the way, they have a quarterback that going into that thing we were talking very highly of, and he won Taylor Green. There was a lot to be nervous about if you were Notre Dame going into that spot, and they thwacked them, dude. Thwacked them. And so my feeling coming away from that game, going into the game against Boise State, this might just be who Notre Dame is now. Notre Dame you saw week 1 against Miami. Notre Dame you saw against A&M. Those guys are dead. Those teams don't exist anymore. New Notre Dame now takes their place. And the reason why I feel this way is, 1, what I saw against Arkansas, but 2, this more prevailing thought of, I think Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman just handle failure well. Go back to last year, the NIU loss. We saw a different Notre Dame team from there forward. The urgency, the overall just identity they seem to have found. It was around this time last year where Notre Dame kind of got it together, figured out who they were, got their footing, went on a tear, then played for a national championship, right? And a big part of that, yes, the urgency, yes, them handling failure well, but right in line with that, I think them finding out who they want to be offensively is just as important, because last year, Riley Leonard threw it 30 times against A&M. Then going forward now, in the month of October, you beat Louisville and you kind of get your footing a little bit there. They made a very clear effort to simplify their game plan of like, hey, Riley, we're going to run you. We're going to utilize you in the efficient passing game, but we don't need to go bombs over Baghdad to go win games here. Like, we can win games with your legs, the efficient passing game, the quick game, playing in rhythm, playing on time. And when we do that, we run the football the way we run the football, that defense is really good. We're going to make sure they have the onus, if you will, to go win us football games. Yeah, we got to control the game on the offensive side. We're going to score points. We're not taking our foot off the gas, but like, we're not going to lose the game offensively, to put it simply. Now, that's not the same approach this year, but I just think it speaks to the timeline of their season. Notre Dame took a second to figure out who they wanted to be offensively, and it did it at a really high level to the point where they were playing the national title game with the game in the fourth quarter. Now, for this team, I saw more of that, I think, against Arkansas with what their identity is going to be, which is C.J. Carr, going to let you spin it. Get it to Greathouse, get it to Pauling, get it to Fields, Reardon, like spread the ball around the yard. You have a really good arm. We're going to use it. At the same time, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price need to eat. And I'm not talking like snacks. I'm talking like full-on 3-course meals. And so they've done a great job since the A&M game, I should say, which is a 1-game sample size. I digress. 2-game sample size. I digress. involving their elite backfield, the number one in the country ranked backfield, in my opinion, and also pushing the ball downfield. So Price gets his touches, Love gets his touches, but some of those might be in the check down game. And checking it down to Jeremiah Love can be an explosive. Make that very clear. So as I look to the future here, you look at what Notre Dame has on their schedule, and I think the thing you say if you're a Notre Dame naysayer is, well, yeah, good for them, but can they really avoid the madness of a college football season and not stub their toe somewhere they shouldn't stub their toe? Like Boise State's a great example. G5 team made the playoff last year. Going to take them seriously? And that's where I think the gift of 0-2 comes into play. When you lose 2 games, there's no more margin for error. Guess who knows that? The entire Notre Dame locker room. Why? Because Marcus Freeman is driving it into their heads. Marcus Freeman is making sure they understand you cannot lose another game. You do not have margin for error. So therefore, we're in playoff mode starting today, boys. Same conversation you had last year post-NIU. Guess what? Playoff starts for us in September. Like it or not, that's our reality we've established for ourselves. And so with that being the case, I don't think Notre Dame's going to overlook anybody. Now, they have games they could lose, for sure. I mean, NC State could be frisky, I suppose. USC definitely will be one that we circle. But overall, I think the focus of Notre Dame, unfortunately, took a loss to get you there. But the focus of Notre Dame right now is at a place where I trust them plus that talent to maximize their overall some of their parts when it comes to where they're going to be the rest of the way here. So Hard Count Herald, Irish, bully Broncos to improve to 3-2, and I think that will be true when we walk in here on Sunday morning after the Saturday action. One more take from the Hard Count Herald here. This is a good one. Raiola rolls in win over Spartans. So this is me and the Herald agreeing on the fact that Matt Rhule in year 3 is still awesome. Numbers indicate that. There's no reason to believe that's not the case yet this year outside of the Michigan game. I'm still believing and drinking the tea that Matt Rhule year 3 is awesome, that this team is going to do something this year. They're a different product than they were the previous couple years. I'm believing and buying Matt Rhule year 3. A big reason why, his teams in year 3 are his personnel, to put it simply. Like the first year you get there, it is what it is. Second year, use the portal, recruit a couple of guys. Okay, we move forward. Now in year 3, Matt Rhule, I think, is signing his name next to the culture, yes, absolutely. But as importantly, the roster they have in-house in Lincoln. These are Matt Rhule guys. And so with that being the case, if Matt Rhule and this year 3 roster is going to accomplish what they want to accomplish here, you go win games like this. I've said it many times. You separate from the middle class of the Big Ten. What's the middle class of the Big Ten? Well, it's where Nebraska's lived for the better part of the last, 365 days. Before that, they were like lower, mid-tier. I digress. But mid-tier is Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota. If you want to be a team that gets talked about in the playoff conversation in November, you win these games. You win this game, starting with Michigan State. And so going back to the personnel side of this, Matt Rhule is telling you that they're going to win games because of Dylan Raiola. I think one thing that gets overlooked with Matt Rhule, great motivator, great culture, great speaker, all those things, and he's awesome on TV. I hope he does more of it. House Rules, shout out. But he knows his personnel and he plays to it and designs his game plans and hires his coordinators for it. Like at Baylor, it was, this defense is awesome. I like our running back room. Quarterback's good, but we have good players to get the ball to on the perimeter. We're going to live by how our defense plays, how our run game plays, and then taking shots off of that with our Denzel Mims, who's an NFL receiver, our Tyquan Thornton, NFL receiver. Those kind of pieces for this Baylor team. He catered this game plan to that. Now at Nebraska, what is he telling us? I'm going to go get a couple of guys via the portal for Dylan Raiola to throw to. I'm going to go hire an OC in Dana Holgorsen, who has an air raid background of sorts. He's telling us we're going to win games because of Dylan Raiola. How they've played so far, we're going to put the ball in Dylan Raiola's hands and throw it 41 freaking times, top 10 in America when it comes to attempts. That's how Nebraska is approaching these things. And so if you're trusting Matt Rhule year 3, you also trust the approach he's taking here in year 3, which is what I'm doing here with this whole take that I think he goes off against Michigan State. And I think we see them get a win over Michigan State in the spot. But to put the final point on this whole thing, just in this game alone, take the Matt Rhule year 3 part out of it, take the culture part out of it and bouncing back from a loss against Michigan, all those things. The style here absolutely favors Nebraska with what Michigan State is on the back end. Like Caden Smith, 2-time All-Sun Belt safety that produces this show, they would need several Caden Smiths on the back end for Michigan State to have a chance in this game to stop the pass game. They are bad on the back end, dude. Allowed 390 through the air and 4 touchdowns from Dylan Lonergan at Boston College. You won that game, but golly, not because you're secondary. Jaden Mayava had half as many touchdowns as incompletions. 3 touchdowns, 6 incompletions against you. Like, there is a lot of ripe fruit for a one Dylan Raiola in this spot. So the style of Nebraska paired with the shortcomings of Michigan State, I'll roll with the Huskers. I've told you that. You already know that. But when and if that happens, then you promote some more confidence for Dylan Raiola to go do what he needs to do in the month of October. Set yourself up in October for November to go 2-1. Like, I'm just saying now, if you do what you're supposed to do in October with who Dylan Raiola is supposed to be starting in this game, it's all on the table for Nebraska when it comes to their playoff aspirations, which is saying a lot, but I'm telling you, that's a possibility when it comes to what this game could mean for Raiola and for Nebraska here going forward. So the Herald reads, Raiola rolls and win over Spartans. We'll take that to the bank, and we appreciate the Herald giving us a little heads up on that ahead of this weekend. Now, this weekend, one team that's not playing, Tennessee. And Cato had the idea, I think it's a great one, to do a little bye-week breakdown for where you're at right now in Knoxville. A couple of different things to unpack here with Tennessee. As of right now, there's not that exciting win to point to that you had a year ago with the Oklahoma win. Because you beat Oklahoma and we're all like, hey, this team could go do something now. Hey, this team kind of announced themselves to the college football world. You don't have that in the win-loss column, but I think most Tennessee fans would tell you they like this product of Tennessee football team, feel better about this kind of Tennessee football team than what you had a year ago this time with Nico playing quarterback for you. So there's that. Plus there's the fact that the defense in and of itself, not great so far. That's my question with them. But there's also, I think, a lot to be said for how banged up they've been to this point. So the bye week, if you're Tennessee, this is the point where you get right. And if it's me, the confidence that you can have in this team, as much as I question what they are down the stretch, they will be the determining factor along with Joey Aguilar's decision-making as to what they accomplished this year. But it's still Tim Banks, who I think has proven what he is as a DC, one of the better defensive coordinators in the country. They're going to get healthier during the bye week. Okay, we love that. The offense also, with what they are down the field and just overall point output, they should help offset some things that you've lost on the defensive side when it comes to a couple of NFL players on that side of the football. So you look to the rest of the schedule, man, it's pretty workable. Like Arkansas, at Bama, at Kentucky, Oklahoma, then New Mexico State, at Florida, and Vanderbilt. To me, if you can split Bama, Oklahoma, and then lock in the way you need to lock in against teams that, quite frankly, you should beat in a game at Florida. I know you haven't won at Florida in a while. This is the year. And then a game against Vanderbilt. 10-2 gets you in the playoff. Last year serving as a great sample size for that. This team is capable of that, but again, goes back to can your defense, one, get healthy enough and play well enough together to get it done, and then can Joey Aguilar continue to progress and not have a turnover or two that end up hurting you in those crucial spots. So it's the bye week for you. I want to break this down with Caden Smith, but I understand a lot of you Tennessee fans are maybe not quite as dialed in with your Vols not playing this weekend. That's okay. Maybe you're getting out doing some yard work, out there kind of getting the honey to-do list all sorted out with your week off. Brunt is making sure that you do that at the highest level possible. I want to show you what they sent me, okay? Some Omen boots from the folks over at Brunt. Check these out. Now, me personally, I'm right there with y'all. Like I said it before. I'm now a father, going on 10 months being a dad. Thank you so much. Being a dad means I got to show up in the yard a little bit here. Haven't done that yet, but right around the corner now, that's going to happen. And Brunt is making sure I have the tools with these Omen boots to get it done. Nice part about these, as someone who's newer to the boot game, they're not the heavy-duty, clunky, uncomfortable boots. They're comfortable while also providing the right amount of durability to get the job done. All right, so hear me clearly. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting quarters. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up, so they built something better, boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. Crucial now, hear this. For a limited time, our viewers, our listeners, you get $10 off at Brunt, where when you use code HARDCOUNT at checkout, you go ahead and put in that code at checkout, you get yourself $10 off over at Brunt. So just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the code HARDCOUNT, and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you what you heard about Brunt, that is, and make sure you tell them it was from the Hard Count. Appreciate y'all making this show what it is. Appreciate Brunt helping us all get out and about during our bye weeks and during our hunting to-do list season. So big shout out to Brunt. Cato, I'll speak into the mic here. Cato, this is a curious spot for Tennessee to be in because you have a loss. You have some games you could lose the rest of the way. But just what I said, I feel a lot better about this version of Tennessee than last year's version of Tennessee. You concur?
Yeah, it's very fascinating. They're a fascinating squad this year, JD. I think we've learned very quickly during Josh Heupel's tenure in Knoxville that he's just going to find a way to win. And I think, like, as a fan, it's just about how you feel and how you prefer it. Like, do you want the high-flying offense with the aerial passing attack? Do you want the defense to lead you to wins? Do you want the run game to be the best in the conference? Like, they're just finding ways to win, last week being a prime example. And I'm just mainly focused and excited about if their defense can complement their offense, because that wasn't the case last weekend. But their offense, I mean, it's putting up crazy numbers relative to the rest of the SEC. And if their defense can match that, you'd feel a lot better about them playing against Alabama, which that's destined to be a shootout, it feels like right now. And it's going to be an awesome game to watch those quarterbacks duel it out. We'll see how John Mateer is when he comes back. And then you mentioned that game against Vanderbilt to close the year. So they really have a 3-game season. I think the question is, can Josh Heupel do what he does and find a way to only lose one more game? Because I think everyone thinks right now 9 wins, 10 wins rather, is kind of that fringe for the playoff of your SEC team. So looking forward to seeing it for sure. And I think this bye week is going to be huge for them.
And stats by Keto, you sent me this before the show. I want to read these off. Tennessee's numbers are a bit jarring when you look at what they are relative to the rest of the SEC. They have the SEC's leading passer. All right, they have the SEC's leading receiver in yards and touchdowns, and Chris Brazzell. They have the leading scoring offense in 51 points a game, leading passing offense in 337 yards per game. They also have Arian Carter, who's leading the SEC in tackles, and their defense is leading the SEC in sacks with 20.
Insane.
It's nuts, and it's more nuts because they've played Georgia.
Yeah.
It's not like they've just played a couple of cupcakes here, and it's like, oh, wow, good for them. It's like, yeah, they played some cupcakes. They also played Georgia, who's the big dog in college football over the course of the last 5 years. Impressive.
I just knew it. Like, for the offense at least, like, you just look every year, they either lead the conference in passing or rushing. Like, it's just as simple as that. Like, whichever one is their strength, they're going to lean into it. With the offense with Joey Aguilar, he's fully comfortable in that scheme. Chris Brazzell, you're bringing the best out of a guy who's 6'5" and just gets after it. Like, the vertical passing attack is back. This offense looks more so like the Hendon Hooker years than the Joe Miltons or the Nico years. Can you have the defense to complement it? Because that's when I think Tennessee takes it to the next level. I feel like last year people thought if this defense and Dylan Sampson were on those Hendon Hooker teams, like, that would be the year where Tennessee can really make a run at that natty. Like, this year, it's the same thing. If that defense can complement the offense, I think that's trouble for anyone on their schedule, even in Alabama, even in Oklahoma. So they're doing numbers right now. It's impressive doing that, especially against with a Georgia on your schedule, like you mentioned, and doing what they do to everyone offensively. But can they get some defensive guys healthy? Can they add some extra wrinkles to the offense? This bye week's going to be huge for them as far as getting to their full potential to finish out the year strong.
So when it comes to the way the offense looks, I think you made a really good point about it's very 2022-ish in the way they can now call the offense with Joey Aguilar. And I don't want to dunk on the guy anymore because I think it's been just a thing that's been beaten to the ground. But if Joey Aguilar is not the quarterback of this offense this year, they might have 2 losses, Cato. Like, I don't know if they're going to go score for score with Mississippi State. I genuinely think they might have lost that game if they don't have him in the fold there. And the defense, too, as the numbers are, I know Tennessee fans are saying this, the game against Mississippi State, bad against the run for sure, but also like created 2 touchdowns on the defensive side. Got dealt a lot of short fields on the defensive side. So maybe it's not quite as bad as it looks in that game. But I'm with you, man. If the defense can be a little bit close to what they were last year, like, this team's going to be a wagon in the college football playoff if and when they get there. But great stuff on the numbers, man. What do you say we move on to our pre-Week 6 superlatives for this slate and put a bow on this show, man? There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. As always, man, we got 4 categories. The upset we're watching, things could get weird, our must-see TV, and then a category close to our heart, Sicko's Hour. Kato, you got an upset you want to start us off with here, brother, for Week 6 that you're maybe tracking? Maybe not calling maybe, but just one you're tracking here?
I think you know mine. And I like the Florida Gators as an underdog in the swamp. Yeah, man. I don't know, cover, win, again, like this is upset watch, so I just have my eyes on it. But we talked about it earlier this week. If you had to close your eyes and picture one quarterback in this game rising above it all and playing in just a phenomenal masterclass performance, you close your eyes and you see DJ Lagway. You don't see Arch Manning, just given what we've seen. So I think Florida back against the wall at home in the swamp. I think they have the quarterback matchup won. Can the weapons around DJ Lagway make it happen in the run game? Can his defense continue to perform and keep teams scoring under 20 points, keep them in that range? I like Florida at home in this spot, man. Like, I get that Texas has the more talented roster all around, but the guy that touches the ball every single play just hasn't lived up to it. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. I think there's going to be more pressure on Arch Manning in that offense compared to Florida in that offense. Can it get worse than 5 interceptions for DJ Lagway? Only one way to find out. But as far as an upset spot, first home opener, or just first SEC opener, I should say, for Texas here in a Florida team that's been under the heavy bar and played several really, really good teams, not just one a month ago. I like the spot for upset watch for Florida hosting in the swamp.
I thought you were going to go App State over Oregon State there.
That's a close line, actually. That's
one and a half.
A little too close for my
liking.
Didn't like the showing against Boise State on the bluegrass, but we'll see.
I like what you're saying, man. I like what you're saying. And also, too, when it comes to this spot for DJ Lagway, our question for a while has been, well, how healthy is he? Is he healthy? Is he healthy? Had a week now to get healthy. Okay, so if there's a game where you would think he's as healthy as he has been to this point in the year outside of game one, okay, this would kind of be that spot. 2, there is the intangible angle here for DJ Lagway. You get to play in this game a year ago. He wanted to play in this game a year ago. From what I understand, pretty badly. He's from the state of Texas, playing the team from the state of Texas. That is Texas. Like, I think there's a little bit of, do we see the motivation factor up a little bit here, the intrinsic motivation dialed up for a one DJ Lagway that Texas pulls out of him. So I don't hate that. I think that's a great call. I like that a lot, and it would not be shocking at all to me if that was the case here. The Gators getting it done in the swamp. Here's one that's a little more off the beaten path, Cato. Similar line. Washington is favored by 6.5 heading to College Park, Maryland. Little letdown spot. You just played Ohio State. Probably empty the take emotionally. Malik Washington, freshman quarterback from Maryland, is quietly dealing, dude. Over 1,000 yards passing. He's got like 8-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. 6.5, too rich for my blood, Cato. I love Damon Williams. I love Denzel Boston. But if there's an upset I'm tracking here, you don't just waltz into College Park, Maryland, and walk out with a dub against SVP's boys, man. So that's on upset watch for me when it comes to what I'm tracking this weekend.
I think several teams have done that in the last couple of years.
Not many, though. Not against this one. The undefeated Terps, man? No, not this one.
This is the teams can like beat on their chest and say they're undefeated season, because a lot of teams just had the schedule break to where they haven't quite played many good teams, but hell in a show. We'll see what the Terps got it, man.
I like that.
They could do it. They could do it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've watched a ton of Maryland this year. I watched like a quarter of them play Wisconsin, and they took it to the Badgers. So we'll see, man.
We'll do it for Michelangelo, dude. Do it for
Raphael.
For the guys, dude. Jeez Louise.
For the Ninja Turtles, man.
Put Shredder in a freaking blender. Next up, things could get weird, Cato. My things could get weird pick for this week. Kentucky going to Athens. Some people are like, wait, JD, Kentucky Wildcats? Team that's not been all that impressive over the course of the last year or so. I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Also, it's at Georgia, but hear me clearly. Noon Eastern. Kentucky's played Georgia pretty close last couple of years. Okay, 2024. So last year, 1-point loss for Kentucky. A lot of people thinking Stoops maybe should have called that game a bit differently. 2022, the year that Georgia won the national championship, 16-6. Now, I believe both those games were in Lexington. I digress. But things could get weird in that one, Cato. And you know what? To add to the weirdness, you would hope, if you're a Kentucky fan, in a good way, maybe get you a little different pregame meal. Go to the Whataburger truck. If you're a Georgia fan or you're a Kentucky fan, October 4th, whether you're cheering for the Dogs or you're cheering for the Cats, make sure you drop by the Whataburger truck during your tailgate, and whoever you're rooting for, make sure you bring home a W early with a hot, fresh Whataburger in hand. No matter who comes out on top, you take your team to Whataburger. You know you'll feel like a winner with food made fresh and hot every time, 24/7. See you at the game. See you at the Whataburger. You got to love it. What could be weird for you this weekend, Cato?
I think it'd be weird if you were at that game and you didn't get a honey butter chicken biscuit to start your day from Whataburger. That's what I first and foremost think would be weird. For this spot, I've been going with games that like kind of look weird at first as well, and it's been working out for me. I've picked some weird games. I wish you could bet picking weirdness. But Virginia goes to Louisville, number 24 ranked Virginia, coming off of a great public national televised win against Florida State, an upset where the field storming is a 10 out of 10. It was unbelievable. But now they have to go to Louisville, where they're in a 6.5-point dog, but they're the higher ranked team. Like, it's a strange line. It's a strange game. Miller Moss at Louisville hasn't quite been what they'd want. The touchdown to interception ratio is still looking very USC-ish. And they're like weirdly undefeated, like haven't really gotten under the heavy bar yet. Weird spot for both teams, weird ACC matchup. Like if Louisville keeps playing like they're playing, I think they could lose this game. And like same with Virginia, like if they keep riding this train, could go in the right direction. Could be a letdown spot either. I don't know what this one's going to look like. I'm just going to be watching Chandler Morrison, hoping he can replicate what we saw last Friday night at the end of the day. So weird spot for me for sure. I think it's going to get weird, get wacky. But I'm excited for it nonetheless.
I love that. The ACC and the Big 12 bringing all the wacky and weirdness we can stomach.
Someone's got to do
college football. Somebody's got to do it, dude. They're carrying the freaking boats. Kato, I want to go a little twofer here for these last two. I want to give you them both at the same time. For must-see TV, Diego freaking Pavia, dude. He's talking about how they're going to beat Bama a second time. Johnny Manziel's going to be on the sideline wearing a Diego Pavia jersey. He's mentoring him, it sounds like. Great players talk mess and back it up. Whether it's phenomenal or whether it's atrocious, my eyes will be glued to Diego Pavia all Saturday in Bryant-Denny. And then for Sicko's Hour, Duke at Cal.
Yep.
Duke -3. Are we in alignment there on Sicko's Hour? And I want to hear
Yep.
must-see TV, but we're aligned on Sicko. I mean, it's Mensa, it's JKS. Like, just feed me Sicko's Hour there.
At Cal, quarterback matchup, Cal +2.5.
Oh, down to 2.5 now.
On JKS's home turf. Oh, yeah, BetMGM's got eyes on Sicko's Hour, man. They're dialed. Bro. So we have the same Sicko's Hour before. If you haven't watched either of those quarterbacks play and you're feeling like a sicko this weekend, that's the game to watch. Must-see TV. How do you not go Florida State, Miami? Like, it's a shame that Florida State lost that game just for the sheer fact that we're not getting College game day down there. But I think, like you mentioned earlier this week, this game might be even better because Florida State just lost their game against Virginia. Like, back against the wall, still the two best teams in the ACC. I think most people would think that as far as talent. But if you want some more niche picks, Caden's really excited about Iowa State going to Cincinnati.
Noon kick.
Another one again. Cincinnati's favored, 1.5 at home. Not undefeated, lost to Nebraska week 1.
Sure, happens.
Sorsby played a tremendous game against Kansas, won in Lawrence last week, threw for like 300 yards. His QBR is like top 10 in the country. Sorsby's balling out. You know how I feel about the clones. Rocco Beck, cool, calm, composed. That will be a fantastic game. And call me crazy, JD. I missed Bryce Underwood last week, man. I missed the guy. Wisconsin comes to Michigan.
Big noon.
They need to play well in this game because after this, at USC versus Washington, those are the two games, and we've mentioned before, that's the key spot where you want to see Bryce Underwood take the jump. You said that preseason. I think that me missing Bryce Underwood and me knowing how important this lead up is going into the rest of the schedule, just let the kid be you. Be you, Bryce. As the initials say, be you, and I'm going to watch you because you're must-see TV for me now.
Let the kid, Sharon Moore back on the sideline now, too.
He's back.
So
no more Biff. The Biff era is over.
We'll see. It was a fun ride, though.
Fun ride.
And this show's a fun ride, kid. I appreciate you making it what it is, brother. So there you have it, week 6. Our superlatives, our takes, game plans, what's being missed narrative-wise, all that and then some. Hey, legitimately, thank you for watching this show. You have a lot of options, but we appreciate y'all watching this one. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and send the link to a friend if you want to get them dialed into all things college football. But for myself, Judy PicKell, for Caden Smith, the 1s and 2s, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling. See you guys.